Need to ask a question?
Well, if it's okay, I'm just gonna start. We'll each introduce ourselves, and we hope everyone in the room never has another claim again in their life, but that's not reality. So what you learned today, if you want to take notes, you can share with your adult children, friends, neighbors, people at church. It's all good advice from three of us who have been long-term committed to our careers to help people with their claims. So I'm gonna start. I put before you a sheet of advice. And the first thing is have your agent's cell number in your phone. I have taken phone calls from teenagers that had just crashed their car, couldn't get a hold of their parents. So have that cell number available. Now, you may have an agent that their business card says no cell number on there, just a business number. And that basically is telling you they're there to serve you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I sure hope your claim occurs in those hours. It is very important that you have a relationship with your agent that is willing to take a phone call any hour of the day or the weekend on a holiday just to help you through your emergency. The next thing, know your deductible. This is critical because if you have a very high deductible, you do not want to waste a claim. And I want to educate you on what a 1% deductible means. Now, 10 years ago, people had a $1,000 deductible, and I'm happy to say our company still offers that. But a lot of companies have gone to a mandatory 1% deductible. That doesn't sound bad, does it? Unless you happen to live in a $400,000 home, which means you have a $4,000 deductible, whether you want it or not. People have often said, oh, I thought it was 1% of the claim. No, it is 1% of your home. So be aware, again, we never want to waste a claim. Number 3, do you have precious jewelry? This is something that agents often fail to bring up. They're so excited about insuring your new home that jewelry just isn't in the forefront. If you have precious jewelry, you need to know that insurance policies come with very basic coverage, maybe $1,000 or maybe a little bit more than that, but a limit of $1,000 per jewelry item. One of the worst calls I can get is, I cannot find my engagement ring. Am I covered? So talk to your agent about your jewelry. Number 4, and I'm sure Brett will agree with this one, know where your water cutoff is. And because if you have the washing machine spurting out water, that's pretty easy. There's a knob on that. But if there is water coming into your home, the best thing you could do is know where that water shutoff is. Okay, number 5. Do a walkthrough. We all have cell phones where you can do a video. If I was to say to you right now, take out a sheet of paper and write down everything that you own, you couldn't do it. And then put it on top of maybe a fire. You are going to be so upset about the fire. The last thing you're going to want is for a claims adjuster to say, we're going to get you back, everything brand new, but we need a list. We need to know everything that you own. So the video will do a good job of refreshing your memory. Okay, now, when a claim occurs, if at all possible, call your agent before presenting a claim. And again, that's why you don't want just a 1-800 number. And I keep saying it, you never want to waste a claim. Even if a claim is denied, it is still a mark on your claim history for 5 years. So you got nothing out of the claim. Your rate may not go up with that company, but the next company you goes to, they run a clue report, they see every claim, and the fact that it's a 0 payout claim, it's still a claim that counts against you. Why might a claim be denied? Maybe you haven't hit your deductible. And again, why you need to know your deductible. It may not be covered. Did you know if a tree falls in the middle of your lawn, you're going to have to pay for that tree removal? Now, if it falls on a house or on a fence, the insurance company will be involved. But if it just falls in the middle of the lawn, you're on your own. That's just part of home maintenance. Next one is, it may be one claim too many. And again, this is why you never want to waste a claim. If you get a check for $500 back, you may think, well, that I deserve that. I paid my insurance company all these years. But 2 months later, if a tree does fall in your house and you've got a $25,000 claim, you don't have a choice in that matter. So hindsight's 20/20. But save your insurance claims for the biggies, not for the itty bitty, I'll get a small check. And the next one is do the math. Could losing a claim-free discount cost you more than what you're gonna get in that claim? Once again, you get a check for $500, you're satisfied, but then you get your next homeowner bill and it went up 15% because you just lost that claim-free discount. Your agent can help you do the math and should be advising you every step of the way why you may not want to turn the claim in. And then this one is shocking to people. Maybe you just have a question. Now, when you call 1-800 number, that's not an insurance agent or even an adjuster that you're talking to. You're talking to an hourly person that is just an information gatherer. So you present a question. I can't find my engagement ring. Will my insurance company cover it? That person is typing in a claim number as you make your inquiry. And the person will say, you know, I'm not an adjuster. We'll have an adjuster call you. You hate to hear those words because guess what? You just turned in a claim. You thought you were making a simple inquiry. You have just made a claim. Now, you should be able to call your agent up and say, I am scared to death. I can't find my engagement ring. Is it covered? And we will go from there. We'll tell you whether there's coverage, what you can do in the future. Again, the agent has a vested interest in the continuance of your insurance policy.
Now, sweetie, one thing we'd like to say too on claims, anything that takes place between you and your agent is like Las Vegas. It stays between the two of you. So just because you call your agent doesn't necessarily have a claim.
Now, you want to make sure, because there could be agents out there going, oh, I'm going to turn this in. You need to say, I just want to have a conversation. I don't want it to be a claim until I decide to make it a claim. Now, a couple things you never want to say during a claim. And I'm going to diverse for a second here on auto insurance. You could have just totaled out somebody's car. Do not say these words. It was all my fault. Those words can come back to haunt you. Tennessee is a comparative negligence state. What that means is nobody's 0% at fault. And you can let the two insurance companies duke it out. They'll figure out whether you were 60% at fault or 35%. Let the insurance companies do it. The best thing you can do at an accident is to keep your mouth shut and do not admit guilt. Now, when it comes to homeowners claims, water claims are probably one of the trickiest claims out there. Insurance companies have gotten very tough on water claims. Here's what they will pay for sudden and accidental. If you leave the bath water running and you flood your house, the insurance company will pay for that because that was sudden and accidental. What isn't covered is long-term damage. So if I'll give you an example, you go into your guest bedroom, you're never in there, you open up the closet and there is mold there. Oh, so something in the attic is leaking. So there's a very good chance that'll be turned down because that has been a long-term problem. They will not listen to the excuse, I'm never in the room, I didn't know it was occurring. So when you present a water claim, don't say, well, it's been going on for so long, there's mildew or mold. Do not say those words. Let the insurance company determine whether they consider it sudden or accidental or if it's been going on for a while. Now, universal, and all these things are universal. I don't think there'd be an insurance agent that would argue with any of the points I'm bringing up, but always report serious claims ASAP. And if you can't get a hold of the agent and you just had a fire or a tree fell on your house and your agent's unavailable, by all means, call that 1-800 number. That's a serious claim and you need help ASAP, right, guys? So you can call companies there's a clause in every insurance policy that says you have to do, as a consumer, everything you can to mitigate a loss. So if a tree has fallen on your house and there's water coming into your house, you would call a roofer and say, I need some help. I need this to be tarped. I need immediate help. Or there's water gushing up through all my drains. You want to talk to a mitigation person, ASAP. And sometimes people think, I can handle this myself. You cannot do what they can do. And two other things about doing the work yourself. Keep track of your time, because what you use, what you supply, laundry, everything, all your labor, that money can come towards your deductible. So keep track of that. And also everything the mitigation company does. Yes, there's going to be a fee for it, but that will count towards your deductible. And that's all I have. Next up.
All right. All those things that Lynn said, I can verify, especially when it comes to people thinking something's a claim when it's not, because it's long-term and ongoing. So I have to explain a lot of times to people that your homeowner's insurance is not a home warranty. There's a difference there. Home warranty is for maintenance. Homeowner's insurance is for sudden and accidental, as Lynn said. So that's an important one to keep in mind. What I like to advise people about when it comes to my end of things is when I get that call, a lot of times it's before they file the claim. A lot of times agents call me and say, can you check this out? I've got this customer. They called me. They sound like they're in a panic. It sounds pretty serious. It sounds big. Can you go out and look at it for me? I go out and look at it, and they've got a little spot in the ceiling. There's nothing else going on. It's not even a very dark spot yet. They're a little bit afraid. So people tend to overreact sometimes when something's out of the ordinary. So don't panic before you file a claim. Make sure you need to file a claim. Have somebody like me come out and inspect it and look at it. Sometimes there is trapped moisture. If you see a spot like that, sometimes you can get a moisture meter and go around the walls and the ceiling, and you'll find other places where there's a significant amount of moisture. Sometimes it's just a very small amount, and then a little place in the ceiling. You just need to take care of the source of it, and then have a handyman, cut out that portion of drywall and replace the insulation and drywall and paint it. And that's usually going to be below your deductible. So you want to be careful, especially in the environment we're in now, which the way insurance is, about filing a claim unnecessarily. So if there's any doubt, don't file a claim. We're going to be honest with you and tell you whether or not, and what I always say to people, if it were my house, I would not file a claim. If it were my house, I would file it. That's just kind of the way I look at it. I can't tell them what to do, but I can tell them what I would do. Let's see, just my second point. We'll just Lynn mentioned taking pictures and videos to document the belongings in your house. That also goes for when you have damage. Document everything you can. Especially if you're calling me to talk to me, you may be able to text me some photos and stuff so I can see what's going on before we send somebody out. Sometimes you can determine by the photos and the videos if it's serious enough to go ahead and get crews mobilized right away, get them out there, without me inspecting the place. You'll know the difference. If you have, somebody tells me I've got standing water, I'm standing here in 2 inches of water in my living room, I know we're going to have to send somebody out. There's no question about that. So there are very cut and dried cases of it. But take pictures. You want to have that for your own records also. But you take pictures. We're going to take pictures as well. That's part of what we do with the insurance companies. We document everything. We have to justify the things that we do to your insurance company. So take lots of pictures. If you're another thing is if your damage was caused by a burst pipe or a mechanical failure or something, you call somebody to come fix it. So say it comes from your water heater. Your water heater sprung a leak down through your attic, through your ceiling, through your wall, through the roof. you got a big mess. You call a plumber, they come out, replace the water heater. Make sure that they save those parts. Don't throw them out, don't haul them away. Save those parts. Make sure you have something to show the adjuster what the damaged parts were, because they have to justify what they're approving on that claim. So, try to make their job as easy as possible. If it's a section of burst pipe, tell the plumber, I want to keep that section of burst pipe. Most plumbers will know to do that. But some may forget. Make sure you're the one that's responsible for it. So make sure you've got it.
Can I interject just real quick? When you have a burst pipe, any type of plumbing problem, again, it's not a home maintenance policy, it's insurance. So we pay for the damage that the water does. We do not pay the plumbing bill. That is on the home.
Also, when you call a restoration company, I'm going to kind of tell you how it goes. When you call me, we determine how serious the damage is. If it's a cut and dried case of emergency, I'm going to turn that in right away. We're going to get a project manager assigned. They're going to send somebody. They're going to send the crew out there right away, ready to mitigate that problem as quickly as possible. Now, sometimes that time may vary. If it's a time when there's not a lot going on, we can get somebody out there pretty quickly. Now, I do tell people we're not the fire department, so we're not going to be there in 10 minutes. We've got to mobilize people. Sometimes you got to pull people away from other things to get them out there and prioritize it. And then if it's a widespread situation, like we have a freeze all over the region, we're going to have crews all over the place out working damages. You have hundreds and hundreds of people that are dealing with damages. It may be a little while, it may be a few days before. I'm going to try to advise you the best I can on what to do until we get there, but we may not get there right away. But generally, what we promise is our guarantee is within 3 hours. And generally, we're able to get there on a normal day within about 30 minutes, unless 2 hours somewhere around here. So we get to you as quickly as we can. But you have to gather people, you have to gather equipment, you have to figure out what you need for that and get them over there. But when we get there, our technician, our project manager and technicians are going to do a moisture reading. They're going to find out where the wet areas are. They're going to map it out, figure out. They're going to take readings of the moisture level in the air if it's a water damage. Generally, when we're talking about emergency, we're talking about a water damage. Because with fire, it's not going to be immediate response. We have to wait for the fire department to clear the structure to be entered or things like that before we can get in. So we're not looking at immediate response for that. So usually when we're talking about emergency, we're talking about either water or some kind of biohazard situation. So we're going to go in, we're going to assess the situation, figure out what needs to be done. We're going to talk to you about it. And then we're going to give the customer forms to sign. And one of those forms is an authorization form. What that form says is that we understand, you're going to file an insurance claim, but if for some reason that insurance claim is not paid by the insurance company, you or the homeowner, you're responsible for payment of whatever you do. Now, that being said, we're going to try to assess the situation in such a way that if we do see a problem, we see any reason to believe that it may not be a covered loss, we're going to discuss it with the customer. Tell them, look, there's a chance, from what we're seeing here, there's a chance this may not be a covered loss. Now, here's what we can do right now to stabilize the situation if you want us to do it. Here's a ballpark figure of what we're looking at on the front end right here. If you want us to go ahead, we can go ahead. If not, I would advise doing this or this. Generally, if it's an emergency situation, people have standing water in the house, they want something done, they're going to let us go ahead and do the work. As far as the insurance company goes, there are certain things they allow us to do on the front end without approval from the adjuster. They allow us to go ahead and extract water. They'll allow us to pull carpet out. They'll allow us to if you have a section of ceiling that's about to fall in from water damage, they'll allow us to cut that out. Anything that we need to do to stabilize the situation, put in some air movers or a dehumidifier to keep the moisture level in the house from getting too much, they'll allow us to do that. Because what we want to do is prevent secondary damage, anything that can be caused by leaving that water in place for too long, leaving the moisture levels of the air too high for too long. So we're allowed to do that before we speak to the adjuster. Now, after that, things like removing wood flooring or tile flooring, things like removing cabinets, stuff like that is going to be things that we would need to get special permission from the adjuster for before we go ahead and do it. And then at that point, we're looking at usually 3 to 5 days of drought. We work with your insurance company every step of the way. Our project managers are in touch with the adjusters. They're going to very carefully follow the procedure. So there are no surprises. So nothing comes up that the adjuster says, well, that's not something that's covered. You went ahead and did it anyway. Really careful. So that's pretty much all I've got.
Okay, Ed, in the remaining time.
Good advice, and Lynn's printed thing here is invaluable. Back to pictures and videos. Should I take 3, Ed? How about 300? Okay, 300 pictures and 10 videos. Do one video where you shut your mouth and just video it, and then do one where you narrate what's happening right in front of you, and that is very helpful. Basically, what I'm going to finish, I guess, here on is this. Over the last few years, or years ago, we used to do this. Insurance would come out, here's a check, man, put you back in good shape. And there's still many companies that do that, but there's a growing number of companies that turn this into a cat and mouse game. To some extent, although our company cannot act as a public adjuster, I mean, there's still things we know that we can bring up to adjusters. We can supply people with relevant copies of law. Tennessee is, in fact, a matching state on automobiles and roofs and all kind of carpet, flooring.
Define matching, please.
This is the legal situation in Tennessee right now. If an insurer cannot match in like, color, quality, or size, like the size of a shingle, or they don't make that particular type of flooring anymore, the insurer must replace. They can't say, well, it can be repaired. They have to pay for replacement. That's settled case law in court. And it has also been verified by the Commissioner of Insurance and Commerce. That's a fact. Often, people settling claims live in another state. I don't know if they're licensed here, but they're often, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, they're just sincerely unaware of that. So if you can bring that to their attention, that's a game changer for somebody who wants to do the right thing. I have had adjusters say, thank you. I did not know this. Now I can approve this claim because I put something in their hands. But the advantage that I'm sure Lynn has and Brett and I have, as opposed to you as a homeowner, business owner, is maybe, hopefully, you only deal with a few claims in your whole lifetime. I've already dealt, I don't even know how many, probably with well over 1,000 claims. Our company's dealt with probably 10,000 claims. And here's the value of that. I can tell when a script's being read because I've already heard it 109 times this year. And I told one young lady who was obviously, I had the mental picture, she'd been handed a stack of things by her supervisor. Give these people the bad news, sweetie. And her job was to call and read the script and tell them why they weren't getting a dime. And I had one of those a while back. I said, listen, I'm not mad. I said, but I've already heard all this. I know exactly what you're gonna say. And I want you to go back to your supervisor and tell them this, whatever it was. And she said, oh, okay. Cause that wasn't the adjuster. Many times with the larger companies, you're dealing with someone who's not the one making the decision. It's someone of 2 or 3 levels beyond them. And another bad trend, and this is really important in roofs, and I guess it could be even on interior problems, is it used to be an adjuster would actually come to the property on a claim. This is increasingly rare. And in my opinion, this is what I think it is. It's very clever, but now we have a buffer between the one who's going to write the check, which used to be the adjuster on the spot. And that buffer is a third party paid for by the insurance company.
Wow.
Think about that. They're paid to go out and take the pictures and write the report. And let's just say they're all honest and they're trying to do the right thing. They're not making the call, but they're the one looking at the problem. You see what I'm saying? So they send the information in and we all hope that it all got sent in. We all hope that it's all been looked at. But I'll give you a true story. The adjuster said, well, I don't have any pictures like that. I said, you don't? Well, I do. Because I took pictures of what your guy took pictures of. He said, you did? I said, you want me to send them to you? Here they are, right here in the file. I don't know how I couldn't see them before. And it was, you know, on a tractor. But I hate to even say this because it sounds like sour grapes, but a lot has changed over the last few years.
Yeah.
And if you're dealing by yourself with an interior claim or an exterior claim, you've never heard anybody say those words to you. So you can only assume, well, that must be correct, that must be true. But I can tell that, no, I've heard that script. And I'll tell you the next thing that's going to be said or done. And unfortunately, that's kind of how it goes. So that's all I have to add.
You know, I'd like you to comment too, when we have these disasters and everybody, there's been a tornado and there's hundreds of roofs that have to be replaced. Sometimes roofers will come from out of state and promise you the world and a cheap price, but keep in mind, the warranty that they give you, do you really think somebody from Texas is gonna come down? Because you lost a few shingles? You want somebody local, trusted. Also, the Better Business Bureau is a wonderful way, if the claims adjuster does not make a recommendation, if you didn't know an Ed Hill, the next best thing would be to go to the Better Business Bureau and at least look for an A+ rated roofer and avoid the F rated. There are roofers doing jail time in Memphis, Tennessee right now. So a roofer is very critical. Yes, ma'am.
I had a house with a brand new roof. The buyer moved in 1 year later. It's leaking, not just a leak, it's leaking everywhere. And we found, I called the seller's agent and she found out that the guy just hired some guy to put, he bought the shingles, they just nailed the shingles on. They didn't put felt on it, they didn't put anything else on it. And where was this guy now? Oh, I don't know. No idea where they were.
But it was a great price. I'm telling you.
Great, got it cheap.
You know, another thing too, is people don't realize when they actually hire somebody, they don't watch it, there's an injury on your job and you hired that person, that injury falls on you.
Yeah,
Liability.
that's why you need to have state licensed contractors working at your home and business. Because why? And most companies don't want to do that because they are required to have workers' comp. That's expensive. And they're required to post a bond, and they're accountable to the contracting board in Nashville. I hate to tell you, but if anybody in this room wants to be a roofer next Monday, just go this week and pay your county license fee to Shelby County, and you are a roofer.
Scary.
Well, you know, they have a
There's
guy.
no exam, no anything. Now, my owner had to go to Nashville and pass a state exam on all kinds of roofing. That's the difference.
Can you guys, for the recording, say who you are and the name of your company and how can we contact you?
I'm Lynn McDonald. I've been with Allstate for 35 years, but the name of our company is the Erin McDonald Insurance Agency. Feel free to call me on my cell, 901-849-7101. And by the way, Joe's gonna have some of us, or maybe all of us, on the radio show this weekend.
Yes. Brent.
I'm Brett Carter. I'm a ServiceMaster by Cornerstone. I've been with them for 10 years. I'm the business development manager. My cell phone number is 901-832-6005. And our emergency line is 901-RESPOND.
Ed?
Ed Hill, Masters Roofing, Memphis, and my emergency line is 901-273-6594, and every call that comes in on that is an emergency.
And we'll be talking more about this on WREC AM 600 Saturday. I forgot, what day is that? The 9th, I believe, 9:00 AM, call in and support this group. And thank you guys so much.
Welcome.